week's precious metals market update. There's still so much going on. You talk about the supply and delays, and yet you don't see the price of gold and silver doing very little at this time, which we continue to think there's a coil situation where there's going to be a big spring up in price. Today, as I record this on Tuesday, I've sent out to our mailing list the most incredible visual graph you'll see that since the financial crisis of 2008, the amount of gold put into circulation that comes out of the ground has been 1.6% more average per year. The Federal Reserve has been putting 23.41% per year more funny money into the system, money out of thin air, because nobody will buy our treasuries. Not anybody buy them, they're now starting to sell them, and there's no liquidity. So we're seeing the Fed over the last 7 years, over 23% more money created out of thin air. So what you're basically saying is there's been 20 times more money created than gold. Gold 1.6% a year, and Federal Reserve 23%. And the graph that I sent out that was done by a top economic firm out of Liechtenstein that's the most respected in the world shows the Bank of Japan and the Chinese bank. Nobody's creating money like we are out of thin air, and yet people I talk to still don't get it. They still think the dollar is going to survive somehow, some way. And then we found out over the weekend another $100 billion of U.S. treasuries are liquidated by the Chinese. There's an attack on the dollar, and we're trying to ignore it. And yet, it's coming, and the drop in the dollar is not only going to be significant, it could be a crash as we see more and more people, especially China and Japan, that hold $2.5 trillion of debt. So you've got to be very careful to watch this. So as we do this, I want to also be sure that I get into what's going on in the gold market. We've got shortages now developing. Our three staples that we've always had around are the 100 Coronas, gold 1 ounce gold medallions, and the Mexican 50 peso. All three of these are now on delay. We've sold out of all of them and don't have enough in the pipeline. So you can still order them. We still have great premiums, but you now got to wait for those. We're not only silver, but we're now seeing gold backing up. So this is very important that you realize that if you're interested in getting money out of the banking system during the months of September and October, as we come toward the Shemitah, we come through all the biblical issues we've talked about, and now we're seeing the issue of treasuries being dropped. And then we see last week Russia comes in and says we'll no longer take U.S. dollars in any form, in any trade whatsoever. And now we have the Prince of Saudi Arabia on the way to the U.S. To meet with Obama, and no one knows what the meeting's about, but the speculation is he will say we will no longer honor the dollar in the petrodollar agreement of 1971 that we made with Richard Nixon and Henry Kissinger. This could be a blow, and overnight you could see the dollar drop 1 or 2 or 3%, like you saw it last week, as they were chasing the yuan down, because once again, no one in this race to the bottom wants a strong currency. They want an economy that is growing, and if they have to forfeit their currency to do it, they're showing they're willing to do it. So you've got to realize and get your money positioned as we get closer and closer and closer to these events coming. There are harsh events coming and being predicted by respected economists, but we don't want to get into all that and paint a picture. And as I've said many times, and will say again, there is no better insurance policy in the world than gold and silver. Because if we're wrong, and if everybody else is wrong, and if the U.S. doesn't have problems, you sell your gold and silver, and you're going to get 90-something to 100-something% of it back what you paid for it when you're dealing with us, because of the very low commissions that we work on. So you can get in and out at very low rates because we don't charge back-end rates. Now, a subject that I want to do a interview with Jerry later on is we now are positioned for offshore storage in two outside and one inside the U.S. that I've created the best deal of any dealer in America. And we would urge you to call us if you're interested in international storage or if you're interested in domestic storage, because we can no longer store it for you under the Dodd-Frank Act as of June the 1st. So you don't have to, if you have metal stored there, they can stay there, but we can't add any more. But I've set up an incredible deal for you to store in the United States in the state-of-the-art depository that we have in this country. So it's really exciting. We're happy to talk to you about that in any way that you'd like. I want to also say that I haven't been on a vacation since June of 2014. I will be off next week. I've got to regroup and get a little time to unwind between my wife's health situation that consumed most of the last 12 months, even though she's doing much better and things are looking up, and thanks for all the prayers through her battle with cancer. We all know it's never over. You're always looking over your shoulder. So continue to keep her in your prayers. But I will be out next week, and I will not be doing this show, but in 2 weeks, I'll be back and we'll be able to talk about it. If any of you want to move to a precious metals self-directed IRA, call us and we'll help you set that up and walk you through it. And if you want to talk to us, you can reach us at 800-247-2812. And if you're not getting my email blast there, we don't share your name with anyone, and it's completely confidential. If you don't like it, you can always unsubscribe, but you can sign up for that at FTM Daily /gold or FTM Daily and go to the precious metals button, and you can sign up, and we send things out once, twice, 3 times a week as needed. Keep you updated on delivery times on the metals. But I would strongly urge you to get in line, and for those looking for offshore storage, we've spent over 27 months to get this thing right, and we think we've got the best 2 options at the lowest price, because Singapore and Switzerland, the prices are so ridiculous to store, and we have found you 2 incredible deals if you're interested in offshore storage. So with that, we will close this week's Precious Metals Market Update, and I'll be back in 2 weeks. This is Tom Cloud signing out.